Hello and welcome, Martin, to episode 32 of Illuminating Rounds. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Dave. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You're smiling. Always good to see.
Yeah.
It's getting dark out there now. The clock's gone back.
I think this is the first time that we have filmed in the dark for many, many months.
Not these kind of videos, anyway. At least. Listen, you spent a lot of money on that infrared camera for your car park exploits. You've been good and well.
Sorry, say again?
You've been good and well, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've got a week off work, so I've been pottering around, sweeping leaves up, and then they all fall down again and sweep them all up again. So yeah, it's been great.
Good stuff. Good.
Yeah,
good. All right, so we've got lots to cover today. First thing to do is to thank two new Patreons. So we have Trip Killing, thank you, and Tim Reed, thank you very much, guys. You are in today's draw. We have a great draw coming up later on, thanks to another patron of ours, Andy McMasters, who has received an extra pack of the Roma pack. So he has offered to allow us to give that away to one lucky patron. So we're going to do that at the end of the show. Martin, you are ready with your random org.
It's locked and loaded. Random.org is ready to go.
You're ready to go. Okay, we're going to do that at the end. So to keep people going. Our teas might be cold by that point, but we're gonna plug on anyway. You're going to do a review of Onslaught to Orsha. You're going to let us know about that.
Onslaught to Orsha 2.
That's absolutely true. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about Play by Mail. Rob MacGinley has done part 2 of his the good part of Play by Mail, which is good to see. I'm going to talk a little bit about some extra stuff on the Scenario Archive. We've got some new features there. We've got the top 5 superstitions,
which are maybe not in the format of a top 5. They're just like 5 things to sort of talk about.
That's all right. Well, that's you can only work with what you got, Martin. You can only work with what you got. And we are going to do. Sorry,
that was a tough one.
It was a tough one. And we're also going to do. We're going to go through my semi-final of the Illuminating Rounds game that I played with Jean-Yves last week. Berated at Baranovichi. You'll be able to say it.
Berated at Baranovichi.
Thank you.
I don't think you did too bad.
Well, okay, we'll see how I played it. That's
more important. I'm the expert here on and how that is correctly.
You are the in-house. You are the in-house.
I don't even know if it's Spanish or Dutch. I don't. I haven't got a clue.
I don't know where it's.
Berated. What kind of language is that?
Where was it? It was.
It's in Russia.
Yeah, that's all I can do. That's all I can do. I don't know what it is. Right. Okay.
Scenario of the month. We're going to talk about that.
We are going to talk about that. Yes, we are.
You've mentioned that already.
No, well, I just said new features. I left it hanging.
Okay. Right. Okay.
But that's all right. Okay. So first things first. Let's talk quickly about the Scenario Archive. So the March Madness, the Kansas City guys have gone above and beyond. They have now given us all of their packs to put up on for download on the Scenario Archive. So this is the Close Combat pack, the Partisan pack, the Hollis pack, the Texel pack. A lot of these are out of print now. You can't get these. Some of these were very limited print runs. I think 1 or 2 of them had like a print run of 75 or some ridiculously low number. So this is the first chance, I think, for a lot of people to get hold of these scenarios. $15 a pack on the Scenario Archive. Big thanks to Dave and the guys from the Kansas City Wargamers. They've done a great job getting those over. We'll certainly play some more of those. They're brilliant because they are mostly medium-sized tournament scenarios. So pretty low complexity as well for the most part, which is quite nice for tournament-sized scenarios.
Fantastic. And they're just all available there. You could get them all in one go if you wanted.
Absolutely.
Just download one pack, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Fantastic. They all get stamped. For the people that don't know, you can download them. $15 PayPal, and then they come to your inbox, and you have them stamped with your email address on your actual pack, so that it just shows it's yours, just to stop people sharing them with too many people and the bits and pieces which we don't want to happen. And obviously they're in great condition. Obviously, if you're allowed to print them out for your own purpose and stuff like that, that's no problem.
Yeah.
But they're and instantly available. So
that's fantastic.
Good stuff. And they are among the highest rated packs on the archive.
Wow.
Now, that's, if you look at the top 3 or 4, I think they're all March Madness packs. Maybe that's to do with the tight knit group of playtesting they have, or the groups of people that play. But I'd love to see them get more play as well, because we've certainly played a couple of them and they were very, very good.
But we should definitely give them some play. That's definitely a good idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about the Vassal Templates program today, but we're going to save that because I think we've got too much for this one. But we're going to save that for next time. Yeah. So we'll go through that one. Okay, so Onslaught to Orsha 2, Martin.
Yeah, fantastic. So I had a really good time going through it. Obviously, we played a couple of scenarios from there now, haven't we? Motoring to Mogilef we played, and you've obviously played Berated to Baranovichi, which we'll look at later.
Yep.
I mean, this is just a monster. There's just so much stuff in there. I mean, they say that they boast a little bit that they have meticulously researched this, and it has been play tested, and it certainly kind of like has that kind of feel of real quality about it. There are a total of 32 scenarios, 2 geomorphic maps. There is a hassle map, so there's the campaign game map. There are 8 of the scenarios actually take place on the map as well, which is quite nice. Of course, the campaign game does. And it's there's just an awful lot there, including, and this took me completely by surprise till I looked today, there are 2 Sassel missions.
Okay.
How often do you see a Sassel mission? I mean, I don't play them, but there are people that do, and there's a very limited number out there. There's a very limited range, and now there's 2 more. I have tried, but I'm just not intelligent enough to understand Sassel, to be perfectly honest with you. I get to a certain point, and then my brain just goes, "It's enough. Go and have another whiskey," and that's me over.
Right.
So it has to be said, looking at these scenarios, like, for the most part, there's a lot of quite big scenarios there. They look really exciting to play. It means, I think, that they haven't had a huge amount of play on sort of raw, and I think that's because those bigger scenarios, tend to have less, because it's just such a mission, isn't it, to find the time to set them up and everything. There's a few themes. One of the themes is river scenarios. There's 5 or 6 big meaty scenarios which feature rivers in a big way. Some of them are obviously river crossings, but also there's lots of ones which they call bridgehead scenarios. So presumably they're trying to protect a bridgehead. I mean, I don't know. I didn't look at the scenarios in enough detail to sort of like fully understand them, but they say they are featuring bridgehead scenarios in this, and there's certainly looks that way. There's quite a lot of mobility. Like, there's a lot of the scenarios feature a lot of tanks. Look like proper swirling sort of tank melees kind of thing. Lots of defences as well as lots of fortifications. I suppose that's the opposite of mobile, isn't it? But I love setting up big defences with fortifications and things like that. I like to try and work out the little traps and sort of things. They never really work, but I like to think they will. So I think it would be really fascinating to play one of those sort of bigger, meatier ones one day.
Yep.
But there is variety. They've got cavalry in one scenario. I noticed, for example, they've got Cooked Hammond is a big urban battle of tanks in a kind of city. Obviously, it's infantry as well, but it's dominated by the sort of big tanks. So it looks very interesting. Now, the campaign game really appealed to me. It's just 4 dates. It looks quite big, and follows it seems to more or less follow the sort of standard sort of rules for campaign games. But the Germans have proper meaty amounts of fortifications in that, so I think that looks a lot of fun. I think it'd be interesting, and the boards look interesting too.
Right. I guess one of the big questions, and it's unfair to ask you this because I don't think you had the original, but it's for the people with the original one. How much of a change is the second one? Because it's not a proper sequel, is it? It's an updated version of the first one.
So is there the campaign game in the original?
I think that. Well, okay. So I'm going to say I think there is, but
okay.
but I can't be certain. I can't.
So what you're paying for is, I mean, there's more scenarios, of course, and they've updated the older scenarios, haven't they?
Right, as we found out, so we're going to talk about that today as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I would probably be, if it was me personally, I would I would be loath to spend the money again
Yep.
for something that, I mean, a fair proportion is going to be duplication. But,
Right.
But it's not. Yeah, I don't know.
So the original Untitled Chapter had the historical map. It had the chapter OTO, which had the new units, terrain types. It had the campaign game. It had 22 scenarios, 2 solitaire missions. It had a 17-page map study, an order of battle, and it had 180 new color counters as well. That was the.
So it's difficult to be. It sounds like 10 scenarios plus the update.
So there was so let's have a look at, and the new one has. Let's have a look. Yeah, so 32 scenarios, so it's 10 extra. Do you think the 2 new geo boards as well are new, aren't they? I think that's.
Is that right?
I think so. And there's the double wide boards as well, DW8 and 9.
Yeah.
You get the quick player aid as well, I think. So definitely, I think it's one of those things. It's almost like a no-brainer if you are interested in this kind of stuff and you haven't got Onslaught Orsha.
Yeah.
Number 2 is a definite.
Number 2 would be the way to go, I think, if you were buying it now, for definite.
And a kind of I guess like I don't want to say a thumbs, a medium thumbs, but if you've already got it, like I've already got Onslaught Orsha number 1, I don't think I'll be rushing out to buy number 2, even though it does sound like, it's definitely much better. It feels like it's a little bit, for a lot of money for perhaps a couple of balls extra and a few 10 more scenarios.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be my kind of gut feeling, definitely.
Yeah. I'd like to look on the online to see the list of changes, because we just found Berated at Baranovichi that there's change in that one actually as well, and it's quite a significant change to the scenario that we played, that John Aves and I played.
Now, realistically, there's no reason why errata can't be published freely available, is there? So which I think would be it may well be that they have, but I think that would be a fair thing to do. I mean, is it something plausible? Obviously, I'm not asking Bounding Fire, I'm asking you, but like perhaps like a kind of a catch-up pack. You kind of for a more modest amount of money, you get to buy the key bits that you're missing. Or, I don't know if that's a thing. Is that a thing?
I'm just literally looking right now just to see if there's anything on there. So, but we'll perhaps update that next week. We'll have a look and see what we can find, just to sort of figure it out. I'm sure other people have answered that. I'm sure Mark will have had an answer.
I'm massively looking forward to having enough time to break something like that and spend a few days playing it.
We're getting itchy to play a big scenario face to face, aren't we?
A few people mentioned that on Game Squad this week. How they just really want to actually be rolling the dice face to face with a mate, and whatever. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. All right. Okay, all right, so good stuff. So we're going to definitely play some more Onslaught Orsha stuff anyway, aren't we? So we're going to talk about the Berated scenario as well, which was a cracking scenario, if a little tricky on the Germans, but a very, very good scenario we're going to talk about in a second. Brief shout out first of all to Stu from Stu's Replays. Him and I had a nice chat over the weekend and got to talk about some features of the scenario archive that would be good to have. And he talked about the scenario archives scenario of the month. So back in the day, I used to have a little thing about scenario of the month, and I think we kind of saw it a little bit where we started playing the same tournament scenario, and everyone played the same tournament scenario. It was quite nice to see a whole bunch of setups for the same scenario and how they all go. So Stu had an idea to kind of reinvigorate the scenario of the month by first of all calling back out scenario of the month on the scenario archive, but then maintaining a list of, like, a league table of people who had played a game of a scenario of the month, along with their win and loss ratio and the log file. So what I did was this week was put that onto the scenario archive. So now if you look at the scenario archive, there's two scenarios a month, one for starter kit and one for the normal one. And just to let you know that the current scenario of the months, as decided by Stu, are as follows. We've got the Dead of Winter, which is a general 27.2 scenario. And for the starter kit guys, Ad Hoc at Chef de Pont which is in operations number 47. So if you play either of those two scenarios whilst those scenarios are in the scenario of the month, and you log your game on the scenario archive, it will automatically be logged as a scenario of the month game. You will be in the competition, as it were, to play, and that competition is going to run for however long. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be a year, maybe it's going to be some sort of seasonal thing, and based on your win-loss record, I don't know, number of games won or something, you can play as many times as you want. It's all for fun, obviously, because you're self-reporting games, so we can't police that in any way. But Stu said he's going to give a prize. There'll be more information on his channel about what he's going to do. We're just going to facilitate that, and maybe Martin, you and I will try and get in a scenario of the month every now and again as well. Sounds like a good way to do that. So if you are struggling for something to play and you're not sure, take a look at the scenario of the month, log your game on Scenario Archive, take part in the scenario of the month league table, win prizes. What more can I say? That's exciting.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it's very exciting. So how do you select the scenario of the month?
So Stu is picking that. So he's picking that based on, I think he's got a bunch of guys who he's giving some tactical training to, and maybe the scenarios are going to focus around a particular aspect. Maybe it's going to be winter, or maybe it's going to be heavy tanks or something. I don't know. And that's going to be, he's going to select it. I didn't want to be selecting scenario of the month all the time, but if we get a good suggestion, and I don't know if Stu wants to be involved in the full ASL scenario of the month as well as just the starter kit one, but it's there now. He's asked for it, so with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely,
he can do that.
Yeah,
Martin, talk to us about superstitions.
Oh, I have no idea where I'm going to start with this. Okay, so
well, first of all, do you have any superstitions? Let's talk about that. Do you?
So I thought hard about this because I didn't think I did, but I do have a feeling sometimes about the dice, and sometimes my feeling is wrong, and sometimes it's right, but I convince myself that it's always right. That's the closest to a superstition that I have. Okay. Yeah, I'm afraid.
Okay, so yeah, mine borders on this. I don't want to say cheating, but we talked about this before, where if you have your favourite pair of dice. So I like the blue and white dice that I've got, and I think that the red one's a bit evil. I've got this kind of feeling that the red one doesn't like me very much and rolls higher, and they're precision dice, just don't. But
that's interesting because Vinny, Martin Vicker, he said on GameSpot that he has set of different coloured precision dice, and the Finnish ones. So I don't know if it's somebody publishing is doing dice.
Oh, the Battle School guys.
Anyway, so he thinks the German one's fine, the British one's fine, the French ones, the Russian ones, the American one's fine. The Finnish ones hate him. So I thought that was an interesting idea. Yeah,
I got to the point where I was rolling. I remember rolling like funny enough, it happened in the game we played, Johnny's. When you roll against your own troops in OBA and you roll against the enemies, and it saves the low roll for your troops against yourself, and I was like, for goodness sake, those sort of things. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I've just got that little edge about the red dice. The red dice. I can't tell the difference between the white ones. So the two white ones, but whichever one's closest to the blue is the one I like.
Somebody said something, and this rings true. Somebody said on GameSpot said about when you call something, that's dangerous.
Yep.
You kind of go, all I need now is less than a 10 to win the scenario. That's when you're going to roll 11 or a 12, isn't it? And things like that. And actually, it's a little bit like that with the OBA. But when you want the OBA to go in a certain, you want it to drift, but you want it to drift in a certain direction, and the chances of it drifting into your main position are so remote that it's almost not worth worrying about. That is the time that you'll roll exactly that combination.
I've done it. I've been there, done it. Yeah.
You've done it. Yeah, we've all done it. It's interesting that you and I don't really think we're superstitious, but when you play, there's a lot of superstitious stuff is said.
Right.
I think if you listen to ASL players, I mean, I don't believe they genuinely believe it for the most part, but a lot of you hear people saying things. It's always happens to me like that. It's just my luck. That's the way it goes. Yeah. I had one person say to me, he's been playing for over 20 years, that this isn't quite superstition. Said that he basically malfunctioned a radio, and he said that he had never once in his entire ASL career once successfully brought an OBA mission down.
Wow.
I mean, I'd have laughed at him, but he didn't look like he wanted me to laugh, really.
That is quite the statement.
That is quite a statement.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think there is. I would definitely never say something like, "Well, as long as you don't roll a sniper here" or something like that. You know, because that's always. I try not to tempt fate.
But that's superstitious, isn't it? To say I don't want to say that at that particular point.
Yeah.
The danger is when you start realising that even if you think it.
Oh. What about? Here's something that I don't think I try to do, which it may be superstitious, but maybe it's not. But I never think that I'm winning a game. I never think to myself, "This is a one." I think to myself, you know, I'm okay. I'm doing okay, but I'm not like ever winning. And I think to myself, if I ever think that I'm winning a game, then I'm going to lose it, and I'll feel terrible for thinking that.
Is that superstition, or is that just because you're anxious that you'll relax and not give it your best game?
I don't know. I think coming from, because I played a lot of chess before I played ASL, and it's very easy to lose a one game in chess. You know, you make one wrong move, and suddenly, you know, what looked like a great position suddenly starts to crumble. And I kind of feel like a little bit with ASL sometimes, where you feel like you're winning, but also I think when you and I are playing, I think I'm always quite careful about saying something like, "Oh, I think I can win now," or something like that. You know, I won't, because I don't want to give you any kind of idea of how, you know, you're in trouble or whatever. You know, so I want to just kind of.
You want to keep me worried.
Yeah.
Keep me on the back foot. Yeah.
But okay, so were there any other superstitions? Yeah.
Right. No, there were. Of course there were. I mean, the thread got hijacked by people talking about whether dice were male or female, all sorts of things. Just trying to keep them online. But I mean, there was a long discussion about like ginger biscuits.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah. I thought, is that superstition? And then the guy said, "Well, I just like them." Well, that's not really superstition, is it? Okay. So most of the superstitious stuff was to do with dice. Nearly all of it was to do with dice. I suppose that makes sense because that's the random element in the game, isn't it? So we had, is it Honza?
Mm-hmm.
Honza, I think it's the guy, who says that he rolls his dice carefully and very deliberately, and if he sort of disrespects them a little bit, then they punish him.
That could be misconstrued as being a little bit. You know, can you imagine in a tournament picking them up and kind of like rolling them and then dropping them exactly at the right point of the dice tower and seeing someone respond to that?
I mean, could you conceivably like work out mathematically the best way to drop them, like what height and you know?
I'm going to say yes. I mean, technically, I suppose you can't drop it the same each way, but I mean, I suppose
every time it's going to be a little bit different. But
but I would imagine if you drop them always 6 up or always 1 up, there would be a slight bias. I would imagine.
You would have thought so, wouldn't you? I suppose it depends how good the tumblers are in your tower, but I guess so.
Yeah.
So we had those. Several people independently, not even saying I do that too. Independently, I think 3 people said that they like to store their dice with the ones up.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Neat though, isn't it? There's a neatness thing there, and I've had this before where I've looked at dice that's double sixes and had a little bit of a. You get a little bit of a chill, don't you, when you see double 6 sitting there? Oh, something bad's happened there.
Yeah. So this is an awesome story came out of it, actually. One guy in consecutive rolls of the Panzer IV malfunctioned the main armament, the coaxial machine gun, the bow machine gun in a row. Then rolled a 6 for the main armament repair. Bogged it on the way off the board. Then it was mired. And when the crew got out, they got hit by the sniper. And I think it's this guy that was so annoyed with that he threw his dice behind himself and they landed double 1 on the floor behind him.
Brilliant.
So there was all kinds of crazy stories.
That's funny.
The other thing we had was, now this is common, okay? And I've never heard of this. Colours, your coloured dice matching the nationality you're playing.
Right, okay.
Now, I've never heard of that. I don't know how you do the Chinese.
Well, I suppose it's a battle school dice.
Especially made for the purpose, I suppose.
Yeah, because I can see how if you've got battle school dice, you wouldn't want to use the Germans for a Russian. You know, that would feel a bit weird, wouldn't it, if you were playing Russians with your German dice?
That would be the dice that Vinny was talking about.
Right. You've got a set of, or you've got some Battle School, or you've got one.
Yes, so I don't have this posh collection. No. Okay. No. I've never been able to afford.
They are very expensive, I will say. They're very nice, and they come. I think you can get them in a nice case and everything. But they're
I remember getting mine. Well, I won mine actually. I won mine in the tournament.
Very good. One of the tournaments you won anyway. That's nice.
Yeah.
Are you going to be playing in the November? Is it Intensive Fire, the one that Martin Myers is putting on?
I'm not sure at the moment.
Okay.
Are you playing in it?
I'm not. No.
Is it the weekend you got your kids?
Yes. I can't do that.
So I probably am then.
Yeah. Okay.
The only problem is I think it starts on like Thursday or Friday. I
think some friendly games. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll check the details and I'll get involved.
Yeah. Okay.
The other one that people did, which I thought was quite interesting, is so if you have met the person on a counter, to as much as possible use those counters.
Okay.
Particularly if you're playing the opponent, you've got his counter on the board.
Well, I definitely pull out the Barker one when you and I are playing. I go after him like.
Yeah. So one guy even said that he sticks all the counters for people he knows on his dice tower with a blue tack.
Yeah, nice.
And he was thinking about, to save on blue tack, he was thinking about rubbing the counters on a cat to see if he could get some static electricity going. So a lot of people play with counters of characters that they know.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know very many of these people in a personal way. I've never met them.
This is another call out for a Ramsey counter, isn't it?
We need a Ramsey counter so I can shoot you, basically, or I make you shoot yourself, essentially.
Yeah, I've heard about another bad Dave tank that's been performing badly. Someone else has named their tank Dave, and now it's become a verb, isn't it, to Dave it or something?
I'm not sure if it was as bad as the one that I read about earlier.
That's true.
So the guy with that tank was playing a scenario called Insult to Injury at the time.
Brilliant.
So another thing is towers. So people are a little bit funny about towers. I think it's a little bit unique to ASL, the tower thing. I suppose people doing role playing games and stuff use them, I guess. But Ollie, our very own, went all the way to Aslock to pick up his Pleather tower, and says that was basically the only reason he went.
And they are silent. I know those towers. They are. You wouldn't. Yeah, they're like, if I was an assassin and had to decide to play a game of, I would play with that silent tower because it's. Yeah. They're beautiful. They don't sound real. They're like the dice are gliding down the thing. It's very.
Would you miss that kind of the meatiness of the kind of thing?
I don't think anybody else does in the house. Those clear plastic ones are really quite clanky,
noisy, aren't they? That's right. Yeah. Who used to do those? That was,
I don't know. There was ones that they folded up, didn't they?
Yeah, I remember being at tournaments where it'd be quiet, but when it was really quiet, you could just hear little dice tinkling all around the room.
Yeah,
quite surreal.
It's like our own little Christmas carol, isn't it? Like twinkly dice noises.
So I'm not even sure. That's why I've got all kinds of other crazy stories, but I'm not sure that they're anything to do with superstitions. I think that we're a very kind of rational. No, hang on, that doesn't make sense, does it? And I think about who are the people I actually know in this hobby. But we're not a desperately superstitious lot. I think it's the truth.
What about over worrying about things like residual firepower? So if it's like a 1-up-1. And knowing that's whatever that is, I don't know if it's a 15% chance of having an effect or something on an 8 morale, whatever. Do we overestimate that because it's happened to us in the past? So we won't run through that residual.
Probably, and I think one of the things about that is that if it does harm you, it's free to your opponent, isn't it? I think you feel a little bit like you're giving them something for free,
right?
And after all, if you really need to get through that hex, you have already given them the opportunity to put residual there, haven't you? So it's kind of, you sort of feel like you want to blame yourself a little bit if you kind of allowed your opponent to sort of checkmate you a bit.
And players who don't take shots because they're worried about snipers, but I think Mark's article, and I think there was someone else that did another article, basically said, I think the summary was
just do it.
Just do it, yeah. Just do it.
Yeah. Because the problem is you've got no way of knowing which time you fire is going to activate a sniper. It's probably going to happen, but you've got no way of knowing. But the less you fire,
right,
the less you're going to harm your opponent, I suppose.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Okay. Well, next time we play each other, I'm gonna note any superstitions that I notice of you, and we'll.
There was one other I just remembered. Flamethrowers and 10-3 leaders never ever do anything good in the scenario. They always malfunction straight away or get hit by the sniper.
Yeah.
There's probably something in that. In fact, Jerry, who I do know now, I don't know if he's got a counter or not. He claims, I don't believe him actually, but he claims that he offers to exchange his 9-1 for 7-0 whenever he's got one, on the grounds that it will do more good for him.
I think it was a 9-2, wasn't it? He said, was it a 9-2?
Oh, was it 9-2?
I think it was even a 9-2. I think he was. It was incredible. It's quite the balance, let me tell you.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Well, I'm going to look out for your superstitions.
Yes, I'll look out for yours.
Yeah, do that. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. And if you've got other superstitions that we haven't mentioned, let us know. Put a comment in, whatever. That'll be good. Okay. So part 2 now of the Play by Mail, the good part of Play by Mail by our very own Rob MacGinley, who's going to give a quick talk about Play by Mail and all the good that comes with it. Over to Rob.
Welcome everybody to Play by Email Part 2. So what I'd like to cover today is some good and some bad, or maybe not so bad. Again, I give you the references for you to search on Google, which go through a lot of these issues to aid in your attraction to Play by Email. So one of the biggest good things is reviewing the rules closely after completion of things, and I'll show you an example of that in a second. Another huge one is having those games you always wanted set up and ready to go. So you hear about a game and you put it up and get ready with a nice vassal setup, and then you can offer that to somebody as the next game you play. And the final thing is the thrill of the rolls. Some of them are not so thrilling, and I talk about that at a later date, but the snake eyes at the critical moment. Actually, so scared am I sometimes when I do so well, I actually send back just to double check my result and apologise if it's true. There's also something good about the concept of having reminders. So I'll show you an example here of the ASL 44 gauntlet from the last hurrah. What I've done here is put some reminders for the Germans. If you have a look at the blue reminder tabs, which I would then HIP. So the kill stack needs to go here, the mobile unit needs to target there, my kill stack needs to get to here, and my mobile unit needs to get to there. So that's what the Germans has planned. So even if you are only able to do a couple of logs a week, because they're HIP to you, they remind you what to do. I've also shown you what the Norwegians did. What they have done is figured out the length that it requires for them to reach their machine guns, so that when they take shots at the trucks travelling down the roads, they know where they can pop those trucks. So again, in the future, when the trucks drive down the road, the Norwegians are aware of what's going on. Another good thing is genuine learning of the ASL rules. I give an example here from ASL 77 Le Harrison from Croix de Guerre. Here, I'll just flick through. What I do is I've done a mega log. I've combined every single log play by email together, and I've turned it into a log where I've gone through it slowly and watched how the battle unfolds rapidly. Because the battle's unfolding and there's rules being referenced up in the tabs, it allows me to think about what I did right and what I did wrong and pick up mistakes that I might have made and errors, and therefore improving my game out of sight. I then actually went to the forum with some of these questions, and that allowed me to confirm where I might be looking and reaffirm when I can't find it in the rule book or can't find it in the erratas. And then I get my electronic rule book or your physical rule book and highlight it. So really getting into the depths of rules is one of the good parts of play by email. Well, we have to cover the negatives. The first negative is, of course, mateship. And no doubt everybody loves their mateship. And just look at how Martin and Dave interact. And I do feel a little bit more sterile when you play by email. And there's nothing better than your mates. But still have some really good mates. And Dave and I have kept a really good mateship up as an example, even though all we've really been able to do is the occasional live game and lots of play by email. Another negative, which becomes a big issue, is you have to remain a good communicator. It's an absolute must in play by email. Let people know a bit about your life and over the next few days to weeks to see if there's any issues coming up. So that if logs don't turn up, you know where and why. So sometimes it can look like a bit of a drought waiting for the logs. This is what happens with me and Dave playing by email. And sometimes it can be a bit like a flood where everybody sends you the email on the same day. I notice that when I'm playing the Cyber ASL tourney, often there's a bit of a flood in that point in time. But you do cause people to lose interest due to communication issues. And this is a quote which basically comes across as, you know, if you don't keep communication up, you don't let people know that you're going to have regular logs and not regular logs, you can turn people off and then the game ends. And you have to commit to the fact that you are going to send logs relatively regularly and commit to that with your player friend. And as Jack says from the Hong Kong Wargamer site, you know, a lot of the game relationships he has with play by email are actually offline as well as online. And so he doesn't see a lot of dropouts. It's really the newbies that drop out, that get started and lose interest. And the other things include forgetting to log. So you have to have a bit of an understanding that if you forget to actually begin the log file, you can copy and paste into the email. You have people often send the last log, which actually is not the log that you just did, but it's a log before that. And there can be a little bit of mistaken logs sent in emails. And doing that small pointless log really slows down the game. It's a very slow play. And though perfect for the mentoring time, perfect for the early stages, when you've got a regular player, you have to kind of like think about how you're going to do a log which is reasonable to open. And one of the funny things I always find is some people really love their counters, really love, like Mark is meant to really love to bathe in all the millions of counters he has. And there are no counters, there is no gear. Dave and Martin on the third Illuminating round talks about all the gear that you can get. I've got none of that gear. So next time, part 3, more positives, and then unfortunately the ugly.
Martin, I know you know a bit about the ugly side of play by mail.
I think I am the ugly side of play by email because I'm not very. I always have good intentions, but I usually become very bad at replying, and that's the big problem of it.
I wasn't talking about that.
Oh, you are. What were you thinking of?
I was being more facetious than that.
Okay. Please share.
Just. You're the ugly side of ASL, you know.
Oh right, yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah.
That's all right.
Do you know what? I don't shout about my looks particularly, but there are definitely uglier ASL players than me.
Do you know what? It's funny. So I was talking to, I think it was John Eves about this, saying that when we play ASL, we feel quite slim, we feel quite good looking, we feel quite young. It's a great hobby to be in. You don't go to the bike shop and feel fat and old. Go to an ASL convention to make yourself feel
absolutely
sprightly. And
so it seems to me like what we need for the play by email stuff is something kind of with a little bit of authority, and it might well be Rob, that says this is how you actually write notifications and things like that. Because I played it a few times, and every time I do, we've got different ways of saying what it is that we're doing, different ideas about when you stop it and send it back and things like that. You have to kind of agree all those things, but there must somewhere be something on the internet that says this is how you do it.
Right. Well, I think Rob's linked to a few articles that might help with that.
That's great.
But maybe we'll confirm that and get like or get Rob's guide on it.
Yeah, get Rob to do it, or put some links if there's something already available. Yeah, with the video.
Good stuff. Okay, all right, good. Okay, let's talk about Berated at Baranovichi. Now, I have to stress that Jean-Yves and I played the original, the OB14 from the original one.
Yes.
And it did have a bit of an effect on the start of the scenario. So, Martin, are you into Vassal? You can see the
let me have a look. I certainly did have it up. Yep, it's up.
All right, okay, good stuff. So, you can see this is the I'm the defending Germans here. So what we've got here is an 8, so a 7.5 turn scenario if the Russians get the 8th turn, and they're coming on from this this northern edge here and this eastern edge here, and they've got to take 3 buildings. They've got to get the factory at the back here, the wooden factory. They've got to take this quite large row house back here at X7, and they've also got to take this row house in the middle of the board here, where you can see it's actually a heavy machine gun up on the first floor is sitting. So this is my setup. Now, Martin, you can't see my anti-tank gun. You can see one concealed potential gun in the graveyard, and that's all. So now you had a brief look at this. Did you have any thoughts on the scenario itself or anything when you were looking at it?
Yeah, so the first thing is it's quite a meaty scenario, isn't it? And I thought it was quite a difficult setup for the Germans to think through what was the best way of defending this. I mean, you've gone for a relatively upfront defence, haven't you?
Yep.
But it also occurred to me that there is an awful lot for the Russians to do. I mean, they're an incredibly powerful force. There is a lot for them to do.
Exactly.
I was particularly surprised to see 2 32 firepower flamethrower tanks.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what. I mean, the thing about that is they can stand back, can't they? 3 hex range.
Yep.
Making themselves much safer from Panzerfaust.
That's right. Yep. Exactly. Yep.
But nonetheless, yes. So for the Germans, I think it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to get hurt at some point.
That's right. So just to go through the Russian order of battle. So defending for the Germans, we've got 7 4.67s, we've got 4 4.47s, we've got 2 heavy machine guns, 2 mediums, 3 lights, a Panzerschreck, 7 concealment counters, 75L anti-tank gun, and 150 infantry gun. Okay.
Dave, did you offer to swap your 9.1 for a 7.0?
I did not.
Poor sportsmanship.
No. And 9181 and an 80 leader, and that's it for the Germans. Okay. Yeah. So the Russians, 4 leaders for a start. So 9181, 80, and 70. They have 10 squads, 7 4.58s, 3 5.27s. They have 8 4.47s, so 18 squads in total. They've got a dismantled 50 cal heavy machine gun. They've got a medium. They've got 4 light machine guns, 2 demo charges. They've got an 80mm battalion mortar, and they've got then 122L ISU. They've got 3 T34 M41s, the 76L guys, and they've got 2 of those flamethrowing tanks and a 9.1 armor leader. So there's plenty there. They really do have a lot of stuff there to take. I absolutely agree with you, Martin. It's a huge amount of work to get through that. So like I say, that this is what they've got to do. It's a lot to do. Now, the key difference I think between this scenario from the first version of Onslaught Orsha and now is this entrance area for the Russians. So Jean-Yves and I played this version, which is the only version we had available to us at the time, because obviously you've got the Onslaught Orsha 2. Is that the Russians have to enter along the north edge, which is this right-hand edge here, or the east edge north of hex row J. So that's basically the edge. So obviously we had a bit of a debate about, or a bit of discussion about whether or not the Russians would be able to advance into J0. But because they enter north of hex row J, we figured they've got to come in on the I hex row.
Yeah, that's certainly how I'd read that.
Yeah. Now,
and yet, irritatingly, in the changed version, it does include J0 as an entry hex. Yeah,
and that really is a big difference because you've got this open ground hex in I on both sides, which is really kind of helps the Germans knowing that you can't really well, it's not the top, but along the bottom here, you've got to kind of come on this area. So I definitely think this helped. Now the scenario is a little bit pro-Russian as we are on Raw at the moment. So whether or not that's significant, I don't know. So I'm going to play through this, but so Martin, any thoughts? So obviously an upfront defence from me.
Yeah. So I'd just be very interested to see how easy it is for you to sort of like run back and get some troops back into the, because presumably you're going to lose the R4 building at some point relatively early on, but you've got the factory and you've got the row house. Which look more defendable. Yep,
exactly. So we kind of joined the game right at the start of the game where we started the log, which was the pinned movement, the 527. But even that little one residual there is pretty useful for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Genevieve just kind of went for it and really went for it in quite an aggressive way to start with. So jumping on, giving me a 12 down 2 shot right at the start of the game. So we can see that. I'm going to just bring that a bit so you can actually see the dice rolls there. Let's make sure you guys can see that. All right, so starting off, as I mean to go on with a KIA straight away, which is always good, despite the cower. And this is a great example of, even though I've cowered here, and I kind of thought, well, actually I'm in a lot of trouble already because of that cower. But it's so difficult to get around these Germans from the start. Yeah. So we'll try and go nice and fast. So so the first tank comes on and jumps into my bore-sighted location. So here's my anti-tank gun getting revealed here.
Now this guy's got 11 on the front, so this anti-tank gun is certainly not a certain kill, is it?
That's right, so 17 to kill. Now I read this wrong. When we were playing to start with, I read it wrong as a 20 because I was looking at the APCR, I think I was looking at. So I think this is actually an immobilization. So we blow it up and then we realise a little bit later Jean gets his double ones to start with on a crew survival. So we will go back and we fix that with.
So he's not destroyed; it's only immobilised.
It's immobilised there, but it's a pretty bad place to be immobilised, I think. So another KA there with the residual, which was quite useful. On comes the second. This is the flamethrowing tank. I intensify the gun because obviously it lost rate of fire with a.
Of course, you've got no Panzerfaust now because everything's fired, haven't you, around there?
That's right. Yeah. So get double one with a hit on the critical on the intensive fire shot and a blaze.
Wow.
Here. So.
That's tough.
Yeah. So 2 tanks down. Jean's not going to be deterred. He's going to come on again. Obviously now I'm intensified, so there's not a lot more I can do. But the tanks are going to kind of line up here. Now, this is an interesting point, and Jean was definitely a very good player. I mean, make no mistake, although he's not hugely experienced, he's very, very good. But one of the things he got, 2 things that I think went wrong for him at the start of the game here, was he became very target focused on this anti-tank gun, in that he kind of decided this was the only thing he had to really focus on killing, and was petrified of the concealed potential gun in M7, the infantry gun. So,
and he doesn't know that's there, is that right?
No, he does know that's there. Yeah, that's concealed counters there. So in theory, that could be the concealed gun. Okay. Now you and I, Martin, will know that actually that's just 3 concealment counters.
Right. Okay.
But obviously, Jean doesn't know that. So the smoke starts to come out from the blazes. We've got the smoke. So already,
which is really helping him, I guess.
Well, yeah, but in a way, it does help him. But he's got to come down this road, and we'll be coming down it at some point. So we get the usual kind of advancing fire. I start to break, and already, I'm falling back, and these guys are broken, and these guys.
It's turned away. He's certainly cracked that initial position, hasn't it? Yeah. Despite things looking like they're going badly for him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I prep fire this tank into this guy's here. Doesn't do anything here.
Yeah.
It bounces off. Start to pull back. Loses one of the guys here. I can't remember what was some morale check.
I love watching a turn like that and seeing things like sort of reeling backward from the initial
Hit.
It's really good.
This
Hollywood war film.
this the anti-tank gun shoots and kills the tanks. There's now 3 kind of tanks. Now the flamethrower tank is going to come in. So here's my Panzerschreck. This is my great kind of moment for the Panzerschreck to shine on here. Of course, roll a 10.
Yeah,
that's gone.
So what were we saying earlier about powerful weapons, flamethrowers?
Yeah, exactly.
Now that's a risky place for his T-34, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. As we're going to see, it's hard for him to get this out of this position here.
Yeah,
and potentially coming through the if this half squad can get nullified, actually coming through the woods might be a safer thing, because you've got a little bit of protection from this. This anti-tank gun's got a swivel, I suppose. It's not going to see this, through here. You've got a little bit of cover to get through. And I think, with me set so far forward, if you can get around the back of me at all, I think I'm in a lot of trouble.
That's right. Just love the way he's got that massive cluster, and there's no, this is not a spread out force at all, is it? He's got all his firepower forcing its way through. Interestingly,
he's not coming down this road because he's worried about this potential infantry gun here. He's worried about moving his tank into line of sight of it. He's all of these kind of things are just kind of small advantages that the Germans are getting here. The flamethrower causes a flame in here. The Russians start to break a whole bunch of stuff inside the building here, which is going to cause them a bit of a Benny Hill moment with this half squad that rallies here. So the half squad in K4 that has rallied is going to do his best to just hold up more Russians. Another tank has gone. So we've now got in the mobile tank, we've got three Blazes or Rex. So he's only got 2 tanks left.
It's a tankless job, isn't it? It's sometimes tankless.
Very good.
So there are times when I play and I think especially perhaps when I was relatively new and you'd lose all your tanks or your opponent would lose all their tanks and you'd think that was it, and you realise that the game wasn't really about the tanks.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to see how good a game we get now, or whether it's really just too difficult for him now.
That's very true. So I start to pull back. This squad here is now just going to be a bit of a pain for the tank in the street. Obviously, you can go for a Panzerfaust here and try and get some little down 2 shots.
Yeah.
The OBA starts to get put down. He gets an accuracy of a 1 here, and so this is
accurate.
It's going to get a problem.
Yeah. It's very hard for you to get out of that position. Isn't it?
Exactly. I can't really do a lot.
It's actually really that you've got that unit. If it ends up tying up the OBA, that's what that unit achieves, isn't it? It's not doing something else if it's killing him.
So what happens next? So John decides to pull it and try and knock out these the gun and the the squad here. It's inaccurate and jumps to one position above, and then rolls for my morale check is a 6, and so I lose my crew instantly.
So it turned out not to be too bad a decision, but were you surprised that he did that, or were you?
I was pleased in a way because I thought that kind of that incident gun had kind of done. It wasn't going to last very much longer. So it's soaked up an OBA. I mean, I wouldn't have minded.
It's interesting. It suddenly turns this game into an infantry game now, isn't it? There's nearly only infantry on both sides.
Yep.
I know you've got one. He's got one tank left, but.
So now this is where this anti-tank gun or the infantry gun dummy is now taking up more. And Jean was really worried about this gun.
Yeah. So that being a dummy, so of course I don't know where you're hit.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
And he's presumably guessed it's a dummy now.
No, so he still doesn't know that. Yeah, still doesn't know. So the other flamethrowing tank is coming down the road, and lining up here.
Nightmarish weapon.
In comes the big
I
tank.
didn't know you said the eyes here as well. Blimey.
You see, the Russians do have a lot of.
Yeah.
So there's lots of
The
advanced fire
ISU
going
could
on.
probably go straight past the anti-tank gun without that much concern, actually.
Yeah. And now the heavy machine gun finds the fact it's a dummy. And in a way, that kind of puts you off a little bit more, because now you're thinking, okay, well, I thought I knew where it was. Now I've got to start worrying again.
Yeah, it could be the next hex, couldn't it?
That's right.
Literally have no idea.
That's right. Yeah. So you can see
the flamethrower did that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you can start to see now that this is looking a bit grim for the Germans already.
All of a sudden you're not in the right place, are you?
Exactly.
Yeah. And it even starting to look like you haven't got that much left.
I don't have a lot left. It's bizarre. From what I thought was okay.
Yeah.
So, and we've got we've got these guys that aren't going to last very long.
Wasn't he? He had to escape from that building. It could have gone wrong. Yeah.
So, bring the leader up here, and one of the guys starts to retreat. More, I mean, and then just as you're thinking, okay, I've kind of got a little bit more strength and depth. Then the OBA comes again. You're like, okay, wow, I don't really want more OBA.
Yeah, strength and depth is just about to vanish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another broken squad here. We had gusts here, which is why the smoke had disappeared. So, turn 4 for the Russians.
It's interesting. You're retreating, but some of them are broken and some of them are not. It's I think it's very kind of realistic. I think, of the way you might fall back from a genuinely sledgehammer type attack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Russians looking quite good at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Tank comes down.
Early-ish in the game, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, so then here, this is where the flamethrowing tank is going to start to try to exert its thing, and here's where my infantry gun is.
Nice one.
So get the hit, get the kill, ablaze.
Now that's a very good position for it.
So at this point, I was thinking, okay, you know what? I'm all right here, because he hasn't taken the middle building yet. And this is one of those, as Johnny was very aware throughout the game, this is a long board, to get across.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where suddenly you're going to have 2 turns left and you can't even make it into these back hexes, the Z8 hexes.
Well, of course, it's the famous long board that the Finnish have got to cross, isn't it?
I'm fighting withdrawal.
Fighting withdrawal, yeah.
Right.
They go the opposite direction, but it's the same board.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So this half squad, by the way,
the
half squad it just caused an absolute pest for himself in here. Yeah. He's ended up in melee in there now. Has tied up some guys. So the infantry gun rotates. I'm thinking at this point, okay, well, this infantry gun has got to protect this factory. That's all it's trying to do. And these guys are going to pull back to this one. And, that's okay. So I'm thinking, okay, well, how hard can that be? He gets his final fire shot. I think it's a 4-up-1, something like that. It's a 1 morale check, double 6 and 1 morale check.
Oh, not again.
The crew's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, okay, that's pretty bad.
So you're going to lose the factory now.
Yeah, the factory can't be defended.
Yeah. The forward building, the R building.
Yep.
He's closing in on that, but you've still got some fight there.
Yeah, and what's good about this one is it's very hard, even though you get surrounded, because it's a row house. Yeah. It's actually a little bit tricky to put quite so much firepower in.
Actually, it's sort of you're protected by the woods in front, because that's got its low TEM.
Exactly.
They can't fire from further away. Yeah. Yeah, no, interesting.
Okay, all right. So that was the end of our first session. Like I say, up at 5
it looks to me like the way to win this is the Germans is to pack the row house, the rear of the southern one.
So that's what I started to do. So I thought, okay, so this was kind of the start of our second day. And my whole objective now was just to deploy. Yeah. Just jump into everywhere. But the problem I've still got is that the OBA doesn't almost care if I'm deployed or not in a way.
Yeah, he's got the OBA and he has got a little bit of time now.
Yeah, exactly. So start to bring back. Now, what I tried doing in this scenario a bit more than I would have done usually is risk interdiction, pulling stuff back, because it was obvious these guys were going to die in place if I didn't. And I got lucky on one of them, and I got unlucky. Well, not unlucky on one, but I didn't get one on one. And it was noticeable that it was actually fairly useful, because often I think when you see guys that are going to die, they're going to route upstairs and they're going to sit underneath on top of and they're just going to die next turn. Always better to try risk interdiction and just get away with it, because you're not going to bring that back. And so I tried to.
I don't always remember to do it, but it's always worth just thinking of, even when a unit's definitely going to die, what can you still achieve with it? And sometimes you can sort of leave them brokers on a key hex and just deny your opponent the opportunity to run through that hex. Exactly.
So my R5 guys are starting to get surrounded. We've got the demo charge potentially to be thrown in. And I think there's this guy has right to be a little bit nervous about this, but there is a bit of a chink in the armor here, and that is that if you throw all 3 squads into close combat, and if I get an ambush, coming down here looks actually quite nice, because these guys are broken, and so I was thinking, well, okay, if I can ambush him, I can jump in here, and then I can advance into the ground hex here, because these guys will stay broken. They won't be DM'd because they can't see the withdrawing hex. And I was kind of thinking, well, okay, that might tie up another one. This is my trying to run from.
It didn't work.
It didn't work. So all 3 squads going now. Martin, would you have put all 3 squads in here? What would you? You're up against a 4, 6, 7, and 8 one leader.
The problem is he's not got 2-to-1.
Right.
With 2 squads. See, that's probably what he's thinking.
Yep. So he gets the 2-to-1 here.
I mean, what has he actually got here? So it's
so it's 12 against 5.
It's only 2-to-1 now, isn't it?
Yep.
You see, 2-to-1 isn't an amazing chance to. I suppose it's very likely that he's going to tie you up He's going to tie you up, which perhaps is what he's trying to do. But I think he needs those squads. With the assault and mass building. Because I'm not sure what I would have done.
Yeah, my thought here was that this is a little bit risky. It's slowing him down a little bit. In theory, these guys back here can be given the task. These CX guys, back in N2 and M3 could be given the task to kind of capture the R5 building. And I thought maybe these guys their job is really to try and push on for this row house at the back here. And it's obviously great if you get the close combat. Even better if you ambush, kill me, advance, so you get a chance to kind of, avoid this potential fire lane here.
Fascinating. I don't know. I'd be intrigued to see what happens.
So I get the ambush.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I obviously withdraw. In here.
So that really slows him up, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, again, would you take there? I mean, you could take a 1-to-1 with a -1, so it'd be a -2 in effect. So
I think withdraw is the right thing to do. Killing one squad is probably neither here nor there.
Right.
Keeping a squad with a leader alive with a machine gun in the middle of the battlefield, slowing. All the guys to the north have still got to run through.
Yep.
And in fact, even the whole platoon in R5 now.
Yep.
Struggle.
My S8 guys prep into T8, and they get there. And at this point, I'm thinking, well, actually, you know what? If I can hold off this R8 squad, this guy now sitting in S8 is looking great, because he can kind of, cut that road off. Of course, they break on their first defensive fire shot coming back in again, and now they look in a terrible position. So it really was quite awful. And they are now, in significant trouble here. Now I
kind of feel like you're winning, though.
Yeah, I think the key thing here is that this is harder to take than it looks. You've got a lot of force here, but a lot of these guys are a fair way away. Although you've still got, three turns to go.
I think if you had a flamethrower still,
yes,
it would be an awful lot easier.
So yeah, obviously my guys advance into the broken guys, kill the broken guy, encircle the leader.
Yeah, they're causing mayhem, aren't they?
Yeah.
And he's just got to go and do the same thing again. It's
Exactly.
a whole turn later.
Yeah. So they're coming round. Now the only downside is that these guys can't do a lot. They're not really able to do a lot against the Russians that are coming. So although they did kill the light machine gun guy that tried to jump into the street here, they took one of the squads out. So now the Russians have only got 2 squads in R4 to attack with, rather than the 3.
You weren't tempted to lay a fire lane with that machine gun?
Yeah, I didn't think about it. I didn't.
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
I suppose that I don't know what they could have done more than that. Really.
I suppose all it would achieve would just make it a little bit more difficult for the infantry running down the road.
Yeah, the ISU now gets into position, and this is awful.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this thinking, this is quite like they're upstairs here, which is just the worst position for this heavy machine gun to be in, because now they can't really get out of the way of it. They've got to go downstairs to get out of the way.
Yes, they're absolutely trapped, aren't they?
Yeah, this is horrible. So what happens here? We get a pin check upstairs into the leader. That was the last kind of good, useful thing I thought I could do there is just break that leader and stop the OBA coming in.
Yeah.
ISU starts to get acquisition, which is always a nervous time.
Yeah.
Russians
we don't know
pushing.
where his armour leader is, do we? We don't know if he's toast.
And it is in this ISU.
Oh right. Okay.
So he reveals it. It's here.
Did the crew ever get out of the immobile T-34?
No, they're in there still. I think there is one crew running around at some point. Now this close combat actually ends up. I think there was a lot of mutual destruction here.
Well.
So, yeah.
Well, he's captured it.
He has captured it, yeah, at quite a loss. So I think we both rolled 3s, and so he's captured. So then I tried to lay smoke here with these guys, like an assault move, lay smoke, and then let the guys come downstairs and somehow get out, and around the back here. Unsurprisingly, no smoke. I mean, I know 1 or whatever. And so now, it's only a matter of time before this. Either the artillery is going to come down, or the ISU is going to hit them. So
it's
the ISU,
interesting how the rubble has really improved the. I mean, that's a great place for the radio that he's picked out there.
Yep. So this is a good, interesting rules question. I don't know if you know this one. So see where the tank is here, and it had acquired the X7 hex.
Yeah.
Now my guys assault move. Oh, in fact, I don't think they can assault move. I'm not sure because of the 4th. They probably can. Assault moving back around the back of the row house. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you're obviously out of line of sight for one movement point, and then back in again. So, do you know what happens with the acquisition?
No, it wouldn't have occurred to me. So if we were playing, I would have just moved followed with the acquired counter without thinking about it.
Right.
But it's a very good point. I don't know the answer.
So it's actually okay. It's fine. It does follow from my reading of the rules in that, and it's the same mechanic as when you count the line of sight, how many movement points in the line of sight you are in.
Yeah.
So it's the same mechanic there. It doesn't. This one doesn't count if you're 1 out and then back in again.
Right.
It counts for the hexes that you in the hexes that you are still in line of sight. So you're fine in this point. So the acquisition is fine.
So in fact, that as a tank watching, that's 3 movement.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's the other question we had.
Tanks can't go around row houses like that. I know. But
we weren't sure if it was 3 or 2. But
you
probably good argument for 3. But
amazing. It's how I'd have played it, but I had no idea if I was asked about it. Yeah.
So.
This is.
So it's looking a bit grim now. So the ISU hits and breaks the. In fact, it gets a. I think it's a KIA. And he kills the leader, breaks the squad.
And he's closing in now.
Yeah, exactly. And you've got the OBA coming down as well.
Yeah.
So, it's all looking a bit grim. Now, interestingly, he's obviously in his own OBA hex.
Yeah.
Don't forget that your morale goes down by 1 if you're in a friendly OBA.
I always forget that.
Yeah. And do you know what? And I think I played someone maybe a few months ago, and I think that rule came up, but I didn't remember that. I didn't even hear that rule. I read it whilst we were playing this one. So Russians now just kind of advancing on for fun, really.
Yeah.
So where are you calling it now, Martin? What are you thinking? With a turn and a half to go.
You haven't all that heavy machine gun stuff. It's not broken yet. It's only 80, isn't it? The OBA.
Yeah, 16.
So my money is on them surviving, and you winning.
Okay, so we've got a broken guy at the bottom. We've got the concealed guy at the top here, and we've got a bunch of stuff here. Which obviously now the problem is getting these guys into close combat. They have to take the FFE if they want to jump out into close combat.
Yeah.
So in they go. Sean rolls nice and high on the FFE attack. He's brave enough to do it. We don't have any ambushes. And you can see that Jean-Yves gets the kill on that guy.
Yeah.
So now I'm encircled up there. I'm looking all a bit grim.
And it's Axis turn 7, so you've still got another Russian turn.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's my last turn. So what I do here is switch over. So we get the broken guy on the top. We get the concealed guy underneath.
Right. So he's got to get the guy upstairs.
Yeah,
this is turn, and that's
the one. So now at this point, this is where. So I was saying to him, look, you've really now got to focus on this broken guy. As much as it looks like this is easy to clear out, it's one of those awkward ones where you've got to try and get a KIA. Really, you've got to try and double break this guy.
It's the only way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah. And
is there? I tell you what, right? So obviously it doesn't apply here because there's no DCs handy. But can you potentially go upstairs adjacent, blow a hole through with a DC,
and make that adjacent?
And make it adjacent.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question.
I think you can.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be.
But yeah, I think maybe obviously in this situation it's not pertinent really. But
yeah, no, that's So I first fire into this guy here.
Yeah.
Don't even break him. But at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I think I've won. This is one of those awkward ones where I think I've won it now.
No, this tank potentially could roll snakes though, in a
right. Yeah, and the other thing is you've got to do this. This is one of those things where you've got to fire separately because you want to have multiple morale checks rather than one break. But you've got to be firing upstairs, not downstairs.
Yeah. Because you can advance in from close combat. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So in they go, and we just play out the close combat.
Advance, it's game over, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And there we see that it's actually game over. So
do you know? I don't think that. I mean, you say Jean is relatively new to ASL.
I think he's played a lot, but he's how do I say this? He was very, very good. He was very,
Yeah. To say he's relatively new doesn't do justice.
No. Yeah, no, he wasn't. He's not like a new player, I think. But I think he says he's not very experienced, but he was definitely I don't think he'd played PTO before. Our first thing, but he was great to play. He was really good fun. And
that was a fantastic game.
It's really good game. Really good game. So that's that one. So Johnny, well done. Thank you for playing. We really enjoyed the game, and it was quite a game. It really was. So Martin, well done for picking that scenario as well. It was a very good scenario.
Good. I'm glad people. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. We don't know about the last game yet.
No, they're literally playing right now, and the only feedback I've had is that they think that it's so bloody that they think that the movement phase is being renamed as the burning wreck phase. So Johnny's going to attest to that.
A similar phase to your turn 1.
Exactly. Yeah. So there we go. That's where that one went to.
And of course, that's Onslaught to Orsha as well.
Absolutely is. Yeah, exactly. So so give that a go. All right, Martin. So all that's left now is our Patreon giveaway.
Right. So do you know what? I think you have done this once before, but if anyone doesn't know, what is Roma?
So do you know what?
It's a bit of a unique product, isn't it?
Do you know what, Martin? Can you tell me more about it?
No.
Okay, all right.
I
Nor
was
can I.
asking you.
Let's have. Do you know what? Okay, so it's an official pack.
You want me to pretend to know and Google it? Is that what you?
I'm just wanting you to give me some time, and I'll do it myself.
Oh right, okay.
Right. So the ASL Roma pack, I'll tell you now, is 4 ASL scenarios and map board number 86.
Only 4 scenarios. That doesn't sound very good.
Well, it's all right. Don't say that. We're giving it away, Martin. It's $12. It's on sale for $9.
I know that there's so much. There's more to come. That's just a feature.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, okay. Obviously, as we've said before, it's all about the maps, isn't it? Really. But we've got 4 scenarios in there as well. So it's currently on sale on MMP's site for $9. You can pick it up from all your favourite third-party places as well.
Very reasonable, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, they've got that. Now you can also.
This is that Italian publisher, isn't it?
It is, yes. You can also get the trio pack as well. So I don't know if you've seen this. So you can get for $62. You can get the Best of Friends 2. You can get Action Pack 15, which is the Swedish Volunteers pack, and the ASL Roma, all picked. That's for the US shipping though. Now I've got the original Swedish Volunteers pack. Typically, I was very excited when I got that because I thought that was going to be a limited edition, going to be worth millions to my grandchildren one day. MMP now picked it up and reprinted it. I think my pack's worth 25 pence and a packet of Maltesers, but it's a very, very good pack. So there's that. And we've got the Best of Friends. Now that's another pack from the Friendly Fire guys. I'm assuming that is potentially from scenarios that they've already published. Because I recognise a lot of those scenarios. In fact, you'll recognise some of these scenarios. Adult Pandemonium, which I think I actually played with Andy McMasters. I think that was the one. Totten Songtag, Biederman's Escape, which Dying for Danzig.
I seem to remember everybody playing that.
Yeah, Dying for Danzig. Do you remember playing that one as well?
Oh, I do, yeah.
Yeah, these were so... but that's with mapboard 85.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the only way you can get mapboard 85 as well. So there's going to be, I assume you can buy them separately as well. Anyway, we're going to draw the pack. We're going to draw the Roma pack.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got the list of patrons. So guys, if you are a patron at any level, you are in this draw. There's 43 of you. If you're wondering about what number it is, if you look at the end credits, you'll see a list of all the names out in alphabetical order, and you can count yourself off and you can see which number you were on this draw. Yeah. Martin, 1 to 43, give us a number, please.
Here it goes. It is 2 and 4, 24.
Bingo style. Marty Cabaret. So, Marty, we will be in touch. We will send you a copy of the ASL Roma pack if you do not already have it. If you already have it, I will get you a copy of one of the March Madness packs or something like that from the Scenario Archive. We'll be in touch. Martin, expertly done as usual. Expertly done.
Thank you. Do you know, I've been working on it, I've been practicing since we last recorded.
All right, so we're going to play at some point. We're going to play soon. We've got.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, you've got. Is it your half term now? So we've got some time. So I'm sure we can get a game very soon. We'll put that in for the next episode. Anything you'd like to play? We've still got to do that play testing, which we're going to do, and we've still got to do our Denant, which we're going to do. But we probably need to do a scenario at some point.
Yeah.
So
I think we need to talk about this off camera. Okay. What we're going to do. So we obviously haven't decided that.
We haven't. This is you're seeing the inner workings of the Illuminating round.
Do you know
Illuminati.
This is going to be the most watched bit of the video, isn't it? People are going, have you seen that bit
where they pick the scenario?
Well,
hang on. Wait. I have an idea, Martin. I have an idea. Here's what we're going to do. Here is what we're going to do. We are going to pick a scenario using the Scenario Archives random scenario picker.
We've done that before.
And we're doing it
definitely.
again.
Let's go for it.
All right. So,
you're going to do it live?
Yeah, I am going to do it live. 2 seconds.
We're not live, are we? But we're not going to stop and record it again because we didn't like the pick. We'll play whatever comes up.
Okay, Martin. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Scenario Archives patented, works every time, never a problem.
Amazing.
Never.
We haven't done this 3 times, have we?
To pick a scenario that we're going to play. We haven't done it 3 times because we didn't like the scenarios. We've done it 3 times because the email bit didn't work. But
Exactly. Yeah.
we're gonna see how this does.
This is the first time that we will have picked a scenario if it works this time.
That's exactly right. So we're going to go to the scenario picker online for the scenario archive. We're going to select Applecatcher because
That's me.
Yeah.
We should plug this a little bit. That when we played it before, it was really interesting because we played scenarios we would never have played.
Yeah.
And I seem to remember enjoying them quite a bit.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that either of us own. I'm assuming that you've updated your collection on the scenario archive, and I'm going to exclude games that we've both played. And I'm going to say let's give us 3 selections. So here we go. Martin, you'll be very excited that we're going to play a scenario from the action pack number 1.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, we're going to play Storm of Steel. I'm going to take the Russians who are defending, and you're going to be the German attacking. Okay. Are you excited?
I'm very excited, yeah.
All right. I'm going to send you a setup for that.
Some classic ASL.
Absolutely.
So I'm the German attackers.
You are the German attacker, yes. That's
Fantastic.
Right. That's
okay.
right.
Send me a setup, we'll play this week.
Excellent. Sounds good. All right,
feature
Martin.
IR 32.
That's exactly right.
33.
33, yeah, 33. Okay, all right. So, Martin, until then, good to see you again, and take care. We'll play soon, and all the best. Take care.
See everybody soon.
Soon, yeah, soon. Stay superstitious. Cheers, Martin. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
For us, just in case one of them has. So I've got to the scenario picker. I'm logged in as myself. I know that Martin is called Applecatcher 4. We are going to pick scenarios that either of us own and that we've both played. We're going to take away games that we've both played. We're going to have 3 of them, and we're going to say email the results so I can't lie to Martin.
Like you normally do.
That's it. It didn't work.
Wow.
What's wrong? There's three selections,
Okay.
just so that if we didn't like the first one, we have a...
So we're allowed a degree of choice. We can choose from the 3 we get.
That's right. That's right. Okay,
Fantastic.
so I'm clicking pick. Martin, here we go. It's thinking about it. It's thinking hard.